Reminder, this Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on my channel, I am going to go live. We're going to have a great time. We're going to have a mini auction, lots of giveaways for subscribers, Q&A, and my most requested tutorial taught live. Hola, mi amigos. How are you today? I am doing fantastic. So, what we're going to do today, this painting here, I don't know if you remember it. It looks very different than what you last saw. Let me show you what it used to look like. That was the swipe that I did using glue and water. Well, you know, I wanted to go and take it a step further and now really change it into a different painting. So I decided to take some black paint, just any black acrylic paint. The reason why I chose black is because I will be using chameleon pigments to add on top of these black areas. And chameleon pigments always show up best when they are on black. So I decided to take the black and get rid of all of the white negative space and some areas in between. I had also decided I wanted the background, or I should say these black areas that will eventually turn into the background, to look distressed, old, weathered, cracked. So I was brushing the paint on, but kind of like sloppy, so that it would have that effect. And you'll see that in a minute here. So these are the chameleon pigments. That is clear Elmer's glue that is in the cup. I will put the link for these, and for Artists Till Death, they sell some really gorgeous colors too, and I have 10% off through them for all of their products, but they're shifting colors. So this one goes from a goldish bronze to a brown to a deep mahogany. It's a beautiful color, and you'll see it when it's on the canvas better. But they're very small amounts of these products that you receive, so don't use a lot. They're super pigmented. You do not need to use a lot of the powder to get that color. Once this all dries, then we'll be all set to move on to the next step. So it took about an hour to dry. I purposely brushed it on like sloppy so it looked like worn, distressed. Because what I want to do is I want to use a stencil, a crackle stencil with some gilding wax from Pebeo. That's this stuff right here. It's a really fluffy wax that you can either use a brush to brush over a raised surface, such as a stencil, or you can just straight on stencil with it, which is what I'm going to be doing. And this stencil is going to give me a cracked or a crackle effect. So you have to figure out which way your artwork is going to be going. I'm going to be designing this painting so everything's flowing the same way that these are. So I'm going to take my stencil and I'm going to put it and place it in areas where I want it to look like it's cracked a bit. Okay, now I'm not gonna probably, I don't know, maybe I'll do the entire background, or maybe I'll just do some sporadic stenciling, but we're gonna start with that. So all you need is a palette knife. You can also do this, believe it or not, with gold acrylic paint. If you have a heavy body gold acrylic paint, that will work. Or modeling paste, and then just paint it with some gold, or you know, tons of things you can use. You don't have to use a gilding wax. I just prefer to use them. They are super beautiful and super shiny. So I'm just going to take some on the back of my palette knife, and I'm just going to start stenciling, smearing it through, go over each area a couple of times. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. I find that with mixed media, it looks more organic when it's not perfect. Okay, so you're going to do that. And then when you're done, you're going to lift up your stencil. Just like this. Very carefully. And look at that. Gorgeous. So while that's drying, you're going to want to go to another area of the canvas. You don't want to try to work over here right now because the way stencils are, you're going to have to overlap this stencil on top of this area, and if it's wet, you're going to ruin it. So I'm going to move over here now and then come back here once this stuff is dry. It really is amazing how a few simple alterations to a fluid art painting can change it into a totally different painting. Yeah, there's never been a truer case than here, I'll tell you. This just came out so pretty. I'm over the moon excited about it. I'm going to tell you also at the end of this video, I'm going to show you some of the pieces that I'll have up for auction. And they are going to be pieces like this where, you know, they're just not your typical fluid art painting. So I hope that you enjoy that. I enjoyed making them, I know that. So now I have some KS Liquid Art Ultra UV resin, and I'm going to put a layer of that on top of my painting. In these little cups are KS resin that is colored with pigments from several different companies. I will put the names and where you can buy them in the description. I'm taking some of that color and I'm drawing through the clear resin with it. You're going to get a close-up here now that's going to show you. It's very simple. Just put some on the stick and drag it through. KS resin has a 45-minute plus working time, so you can take your time and enjoy the process and not feel overwhelmed like you're working against the clock. So I chose to use a black, a dark turquoise, a gold, a copper, and white. And it was the best color palette I could pick for this piece. I just got to have you watch this and see the close-up because it really came out pretty. I do have to say, however, that I love what that stencil did for this painting. It added in some interest to the piece, and I'm happy that I decided to do that. Just a quick reminder about this Sunday. If you have a question you want to ask for the Q&A, you need to email your question to officialtammyart@yahoo.com. I'm going to print out all of those questions and answer them live Sunday night. So I'm just finishing up here. I'm adding in the gold. Now for gold, when it comes to resin, the only kind of gold I will ever use is either a spray paint that is gold, or I will use liquid gold by MTN. I get that through Blick. And it creates the most magical effects, especially if you torch it or use a heat gun on it. It creates like this chain link look. And you can see I'm using my torch to go just over the gold a few times. And you'll see in a minute here exactly what it does. So it's the next day. I've decided to put down a canvas next to it that I needed to resin. I'm just going to pour a top coat of clear resin over that painting that I did in the last video. It's now ready to be resined. And you'll see how pretty those colors are. And then with the painting that we're actually working on, I put down another clear coat of resin. And I'm this time going to draw just gold lines, no more colored lines through the clear resin. But I'm doing another layer of lines because it'll add a lot of depth. So that is my favorite brand of gold paint to use for resin. I just pour a little bit into a cup, a paper cup. Do not use plastic because it will eat through plastic. And mix it up. And then we're going to, as I said, draw some pretty lines of gold now through this piece. And we'll be done with it. Sunday, I am going to be going over top coat information, tips, tricks, things to do, things not to do, how to avoid pits, how to fix them if you get them, all types of information. So come on over at 8 p.m. and hang out with me. And that's Eastern Standard Time. All right, so here's one last close-up so you can see the special effects that the gold makes. If you use a heat gun on it, it will look like this. Chain link. It's really, really cool. Sometimes the blowtorch will do it also. I didn't want to blow any more heat on here. I was kind of digging the effects I'm getting just with the torch. So I'm going to leave it like that for this one. But I can show you an image right now of what it looks like when you go over it with a torch. I'll pop that up on the screen. I'm sorry, over it with the heat gun. Having a brain fart here. I mean, there's just so much interest to this piece. This is why I love taking acrylic pours to the next level, because it's just so interesting to look at. I mean, these pieces of gold, especially if you do another layer after this cures, it just looks like you could pick them up. You know, like they're lifelike. But these colors here are bananas. Can't wait to show you outside in the daylight once it's cured. So I'll show you that next, okay? Very, very pretty. And this one too, very, very pretty. You can still see the original swipe back there. We have just added to it. That's all. Well, I wanted to show you my beautiful paintings out in the sunlight, but it doesn't look like that's happening today. The sweet Lord is saying, no, no, girl, you stay in the house. So let me show you with my white light instead. All right, here we go. So this one's done and ready for a new home. See if I can capture some of the special effects here. You see these pieces of gold, how they look like they're lifting off of the board? It's really, really cool. And of course, you saw the chain link there. And then when you get down into the clear, here, it looks like you could literally pick that right off of the canvas. So pretty, look at that. They're just fun to look at, to see, you know, all the different effects and what you can find in there. So that's that one. If I had this painting on the wall, I think I might display it like this. Then again, it looks good the other way too. All right, here is the other painting I was working on. Hopefully you'll be able to see some of it. There we go. Very, very pretty. Now this still needs another coat. I always do 2 coats of resin on my paintings. Always, always, always. The edges just don't cover good enough with 1 coat. You can see them poking through still a little bit. So, not to mention, it's extremely hard to get a flawless coat with 1 coat of resin. Resin is just so reflective that you want it to look like a sheet of glass. And a sheet of glass does not have a piece of lint or dust or 1 little speck in it. It's perfectly clear. So, well, a good piece of glass is. All right, so there is that one. Remember this guy from last video? He's resined. He's got 1 coat on him. And he is sexy, let me tell you. He's sexy and he knows it. That is just gorgeous. And yes, it's 2021. Men can wear pink. Actually, in 1999, when I met my husband, he told me it takes a real man to wear pink, you know. Alrighty, so there's that one. That'll be at the auction unless somebody buys it before then. Beautiful. I think that's a 20-inch round. This guy here, I'm going to shut the lights off for so that I can do this and show you that. Wow, look at that reflection. It's horrible. This is a sparkle Dutch pour. Wonder why the camera's making those lines like that. That's crazy looking. Anyway, I assure you those lines are not in the painting. That is just some crazy reflection going on. That is odd. Look at that. And it's picking up my ceiling lights there in the bottom and all kinds of things. So that will also be available. Flawless coverage. This piece here, named Sparkle, is a 16 by 20 gorgeous mixed media piece. I had done this on YouTube. I'm not sure if you remember. It was a silhouette swipe, and then I decided to do resin art and some mixed media art over the top of it. And I just cannot tell you how pretty this painting is. Now, this painting is going to be a special painting for the auction night because I am going to be donating 100% of the proceeds to my local feral cat rescue. So it's going to go to the highest bidder, hopefully get some help for those poor little kitties out in the cold right now in the Northeast. We like to make a few donations throughout the year, and kitties are at the core of my heart, so it's going to be a great feeling to hand over some money for that. And it's just a beautiful painting, absolutely beautiful. And that is a 16 by 20 big piece. What a great gift for the holidays for a little girl's room. Or let me tell you something. I would totally rock a unicorn painting in my living room. Listen, I am a kid at heart. I grew up in the 70s, 80s, and I loved unicorns. So I would totally put that on my wall and not think it would be kiddish or gaudy or anything like that. That's not me. I'm not bougie like that. And here are 2 more. I'll have a few more after this. I'm not going to show them all right now, but you will see them that night. 2 more paintings. There's going to be a lot of like different looking paintings for this auction, so make sure you tune in. It's going to be a lot of fun. And like I said, lots of giveaways, color art, going to do some Amsterdam paints. Isn't that pretty? I think it is. Yeah, so there's that. So yeah, those are just a few of probably, I would say, 10 or 15 paintings I'll have for auction. And then we'll get on with the night with some talking, answering questions. Again, if you have a question, please email it because it's too hard to keep up with the chat box. So if you have a really important question that you want to ask me and get answered, just email it to officialtammyart@yahoo.com. I made that email just for live events so that you have somewhere to ask your question and get an answer for. Okay? Doesn't that look like a baby pig? I don't know. That looks like a baby pig to me. So I hope to see you there. I want to thank all of you that have been using my Amazon link to do your Christmas shopping. It helps tremendously, and it's free for you to do. So thank you very much for that. And also, I want to thank Janice, Elizabeth, and Lori for your PayPal donation. It was very kind of you. Can I just say I'm very excited about Sunday, and I hope to see you all there, or at least talk to you all there. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be there with bells on, doing my best to entertain and teach. I love you all, and until Sunday, happy pouring.
Ding dong, ding, them bells are playing loud and clear. Dong, ding dong, they're saying it's that time of year. For dreams of snow and stolen kisses 'neath the mistletoe. For kids from 1 to 96 with eyes and hearts aglow. Ding dong, bells they chime, for now it's Christmas time. Yuletide carol choirs, angels in the snow. Chestnuts, open fires, rides from long ago. Hark the herald, all ye faithful, golden days of yore. Listen to the same old songs 1,000 times and more. Ding dong, bells they chime, for now it's Christmas time. Snow and stolen kisses 'neath the mistletoe, to celebrate that time of war 2,000 years ago. Ding dong, bells they chime, for now it's Christmas time. Ding dong, ding, them bells are ringing clear and bright. Ding, doggone bells they ring throughout the night. You spouse of kin and child of sibling, come and gather near. Eat and drink, invade my house like every single year.